Hello, I'm Dudley Thompson, and welcome again to WDT Media TV. We're in downtown Kingston for the sentencing hearing for Roshane Bennett. You know by now, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of Kimesha Wright and her family. Let's hear from the DPP, Ms. Paula Lewis.
Explain. So certainly as Director of Public Prosecutions, I wish to salute the judge and the judiciary that he represents, and also the forward thinking of the Chief Justice, who gave his approval for the live streaming so that the members of the public would have another way, separate and apart from the media, to actually hear from themselves how the system works. I believe the judge was spot on in how he dealt with it. He properly considered the aggravating factors, the mitigating factors. I thought that was the correct starting point according to law. And he answered the call of history when he recognized, as we did, that there was no legal precedent for a case of this nature. And especially at a time in Jamaica where you have multiple murders being committed at the same time, in the same space, in Jamaica land we love. It is a great call by the judiciary to show that these sort of matters, don't do it. It will be dealt with strongly and effectively and with a lot of testicular fortitude. So we are very pleased on this side. And we spoke to the mother and the aunt and the father. Oh, they're right here. They're right here. And they seem to be quite pleased. Come, mother, you have... I was saying to myself that it's not easy being DPP, but it's so important to come out of your office and to actually participate in these cases, because it reminds both myself and Mrs. Martin Swady that as hard as we work, this commitment to service above self, when we have been able to participate in the process, that justice has been served. And may I also pay every respect and credit to the investigative authorities. It was my learned colleague while I was prosecuting in Westmoreland, Mrs. Martin Swady, Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, who I assigned to work with the police from day one in consultation, that allowed us to bring the matter within a week and a half from the time the incident occurred to the home circuit, where I exercised my powers to prefer a voluntary bill of indictment. And then, having been the attorney who represented the prosecution in the Jeffrey Perry case, which the learned judge spoke of, I remember that the law says that at the very first opportunity, we are to serve the death notice. And I was so glad to hear, because we're thinking as a matter of law. Neither the bench nor prosecutors can afford to be emotive. It's strictly law. The case of Trimmingham from the Privy Council and Peter Dougal from Jamaica, which endorses it and adopts it, says that the death penalty, which is still on the books, it's a matter of law, should only be reserved for the worst of the worst and the rarest of the rare. And the judge said that he would consider this to be the worst of the worst. Of course, there's another lip where you'd have to look to see whether he could be rehabilitated. I think we would have been able to successfully argue, if it had gone to trial, that he would not be able to be rehabilitated. But the matter is moot, because as a matter of law, once he elected to plead guilty, then our hands were tied and we were obliged to take it off the table. But having done that, I believe the learned judge looked at everything, he analyzed, and he really, as a representative of the judiciary, showed Jamaica why it is so important to have an independent judiciary, a well-trained judiciary, well-trained prosecutors too, and may I say, courageous attorneys who in very difficult cases, when required so to do, whether through giving assistance through legal aid, it is also important for the system to work for courageous attorneys to step up, as Miss Harris did, to represent an accused person, a citizen in Jamaica, who, according to the Constitution and due process, must be given proper legal representation. So please, may I say a word on behalf of the Defense Counsel that she should be commended for having stepped up and done her job. And again, lots of commendation to the police. The MID is the Senior Superintendent Paul Thomas. SSP Thomas, and who was the investigating officer? Detective Inspector Dodd. And they had the resources of the police, and they really worked assiduously. And for those naysayers who love to talk about this is wrong in Jamaica, that is wrong in Jamaica, I adopt what the Governor General likes to say. There's nothing wrong with Jamaica that what is right with Jamaica cannot fix. And most importantly, Mother, the community of Coca Piece Clarendon and the community in Trelawney rose to the occasion and assisted the police, because within a day the police were able to find the knife and the short, and the members of the community identified it. Members of the community were able to say he was speaking to us the day before and he said that he was going to kill people. And by the time he went to Trelawney, again, members of the community were able to put him in a situation that he had to surrender to the police. So I say this to say that Jamaica has to understand that what is right about Jamaica is when members of the community speak about what they have seen and what they know. If you are going to subscribe to the I don't want to be an informer mentality, that is how you allow wrongdoers to get away. When the police have the cooperation of the community, they are able to resolve cases much quicker. And this case is an example. But I close on the wonderful note by His Lordship. And in fact, if I was not a hard experienced prosecutor, I may be tempted to confess that it almost brought tears to my eyes. When the learned judge closed by honoring the daughter of Mother Dinner and commending the deceased, her daughter, for having been a wonderful community citizen of Jamaica. She was exemplifying the values of hard work, discipline, ambition. She was studying to be a nurse. She had her little shop. She was looking after her 4 children, and she was a good daughter. And that is what the learned judge closed on. And I would hope that that is what you remember in honoring. That is what is most important. Yes, we were able to bring justice and close it by having brought the accused to justice. But what I believe we must take from this is the fact of, one, what community advocacy can do, what community cooperation with law enforcement can do, and most importantly, remember and honor the wonderful lives of Miss Gwendolyn's daughter and her grandchildren. And certainly at the office of the DPP, it was our pleasure to have worked night and day. We would be in the nights, we're having dinner, we're on the phone with the police, consulting, right? There was no rest for us. And we were glad that along with the police and the rest of the community, we were able to bring some measure of comfort.
God bless you.
And God bless the judge and the police and my colleagues. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, may God bless Jamaica. Land be loved.
It would be nice to meet
Here. And remember, you put up a little something there in the community of Coca Piece so that everybody can honor what your daughter stood for. We need more of that in Jamaica. Ambition, hard work, self-discipline, and caring, because it was her caring and nurturing and her generosity of spirit that brought this Mr. Barrett into her home. So at least we can honor those positives and perhaps put up a little statue or something in the community to remind the community of all that your daughter meant. So you take good care and have a safe trip back to Clarendon.
You did a remarkable job. Thank you.
Sure. Afford it.
Oh, it's ready. That was absolutely.
Sorry.
Hopefully, because he get what he deserve, you know. My daughter taking me in, feeding, clothing was so good to him, and that this is the treatment that he gave my daughter. So he has to pay for it. He has to pay for it. So just so he learned by his mistake now. Yeah. When somebody is good to you, don't try to stab them in the back. You understand? Yeah. I need to help me get the justice that my daughter and my grandchildren deserve. I know the justice that they get cannot bring them back, but at least a little satisfaction is there, you know? And I'm thanking the judge so much for understanding my grief and pain that I went through so that he could give him what he deserved. Yeah. And I just want to thank everyone for everything they has done for me and my family. And with God blessings and mercy to continue to guide me and protect me along life's journey.
Kimesha's house.
Yeah. You come there and say, what? You want some work? So my sons take to me, say, Mommy, you know, Miss Speed don't take him in, Miss Speed don't take him. So now to go and do, we can stay there for a week and then we can get some money and give him to go back home. You know, I'm from this one say I don't look in, I don't know, I look to, you know, so he say, okay, we can stay for a week. But anything else, if you do it, you know, in jump and do it for you. You know, he's very love the world. Anything else, you do, but I'm saying, you can't look somewhere for me and say, yes, Auntie, what you want? You know, and then go and do it, and, you know, but I don't know what goes in your head. I don't know what to do.
You live in the same Clarendon or Toronto?
No, I live in Montego Bay right now.
Oh, so he was with you there for a week?
Yes, for a while.
Okay. What's your
And
name?
my name is Leonora.
Leonora.
We'll work with it, but he deserves at least 125, if not death penalty. But we'll work with the 61. 61 is a long time.
Family had wanted more. They wanted 125 years, if not the death penalty. Because no long sentence can bring back Kimesha Wright, our 4 children. Gwendolyn McKnight and Horace McKnight, the father and mother, are very distraught. I've been with them from day one, offering my support, leaving all the way from Kingston to Coca Piece. I've been there almost 8-10 times just to offer my support. But 61 years old is 61 years is a long time, and we hope he rot in hell.